I think it's time for us to consider divorcing. Yeah, divorces are never good. They're never good. You never want to have to go through a divorce. Nobody gets married, hopefully, with the intentions of getting divorced. But there comes a time when a relationship just gets so raggedy. Maybe sometimes, your partner, your husband or wife just goes crazy. And there's some things out there that just are irreparable. You can't overlook it. There's no counseling for it. You're going, man, this is too much. Everybody got their level. They got their breaking point, Your red flags. I mean, for example, the man in Texas who found out that his wife was making his son become a girl. Yeah, see that right there, that's one of those divorceable things. Because now you're crazy. See, you gotta understand. I could work with you if we disagree on some things, but if you're crazy and your craziness starts to fall out into my kids and my family and stuff, I'm like, that's too much craze to work with. Okay, so now we gotta go our separate ways. Well, I think that there's some people discussing the country right now, because I think that's where we're at. We're at that point where I'm going, are we beyond counseling? I mean, is there a way for people like this to come back from that? So let's see, because Marjorie Taylor Greene threw out a text talking about maybe it's time for national divorce. And, I want to give it some real thought. Some people disagree. So let's check it out. Here we go. Before we get to this video, make sure you hit like, share my videos, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Also, make sure that your notifications are on and they're set to all. Now, let's get into this. But first, quick commercial break. Noble Gold Investments is pleased to let you know that gold is the best investment class for 2022. Real estate, crypto, stocks, and bonds, gold outperformed all of them in 2022. So what are you waiting for? Noble Gold Investments have helped thousands of clients buy real physical gold. Open a gold IRA or a silver IRA with Noble Gold Investments this month and receive a free 1/4 ounce American Gold Eagle coin with every qualifying IRA of $50,000. You can't go wrong with Noble Gold, and there are thousands of 5-star reviews. And if you're not ready to invest, download the Noble Gold Investments Gold Investment Guide. Scroll down below and you'll find the link in the description box. For mobile users, click the More button to find the link. Now, let's get to this video.
The Ultra MAGA Georgia Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene is openly calling for a national divorce. Taking to Twitter, she wrote, quote, "We need a national divorce. We need to separate by red states and blue states and shrink the federal government. Everyone I talk to says this. From the sick and disgusting woke culture issues shoved down our throats."
That's a deal breaker. See, as we're listening to this, I want y'all to tell me what are the deal breakers. So woke culture, that's a deal breaker for me.
To the Democrats' traitorous America Last policies,
that's a deal breaker for me. See, these are deal breakers. This ain't one of those you just leave mud when you walk through, or you know what, you don't put the dishes away. This is serious business. So woke culture,
we are done. Now, of course, Greene's comments come on the heels of bumbling Biden's surprise visit to Ukraine, where he has once again pledged more American taxpayer money for the failed regime to the tune of $500 million.
That's a deal breaker. If you come home and your wife done gave half of your savings away to the neighbors, and you're like, but the kids need books and school clothes and stuff, and you just give away, well, you know what, we don't want them to lose their house, but they're taking ours. We had the money to pay for it. All we gotta do is write the check. Now we don't. You just gave half of the money to our neighbors. That's a deal breaker. See? So these are all big problems that Marjorie is pointing out, y'all. I can't overlook them. I mean, these are things that I'm like, yeah, you got a point. Here we go.
This, of course, all while Americans in eastern Ohio and western Pennsylvania are still reeling from what, in fact, may turn out to be the single worst environmental disaster in our nation's history. And just to give you further confirmation on which side our disgusting, vile legacy media is, take a look at this headline from the Philadelphia Inquirer.
Here we go.
Trump to return to the scene of his crime when he visits Ohio toxic train wreck. It's all Trump's fault.
There you go. So they didn't want Trump to look like the real president that he is by going to see the situation that Biden should have seen. The only way they can try to make it look bad is saying Trump's just going to look at his own handiwork. It's his fault. It's his fault for some reason we can't explain. It's no different than Biden not wanting to take his raggedy tail down there to look at the border that he broke. Didn't want to go down there. And when he did, make sure you clean it up so I don't have to look at the poop that I laid all over the place. So now Trump comes to do Biden's job. The media knows it's going to reflect poorly on Biden, and it's going to show that Trump is a leader and he does look out for the working class folks. And so what did they do? Yeah, Trump's going, but how can we make that seem bad? Let's just say he's going to look at the train wreck that he caused. Yeah. That's what we'll say.
They're actually parroting Democrat talking points. The legacy media is nothing more than a pathetic shill, an odious propaganda spewing super PAC for the Democratic Party at this point. Now, of course, the typical bard of Republican rhinos. The rhinos are always so...
Send in the rhinos. So now Marjorie Taylor Greene said something controversial. And like always, the rhinos that want to virtue signal and try to act like they're above all of that. We're all about keeping the peace, and we're all about playing fair. And obviously, they have no idea who we're up against, or they do know who we're up against, and they're just okay with it. But instead of saying, I understand what Marjorie Taylor Greene is saying, what do?
Liable, whatever. Whenever the lamestream media is circling around any target, they always give Democrat appeasing sound bites for their own adoring.
Here we go.
So one of the most repulsive rhinos out there, Utah Governor Spencer Cox, blasted Greene's tweet with his own, saying, quote, "This rhetoric is destructive and wrong and honestly evil. We don't need a divorce. We need marriage counseling. And we need elected leaders that don't profit by tearing us apart. We can disagree without hate. Healthy conflict was critical to our nation's founding and survival."
Look how Doc is reading it. We don't want to be... You know what? That tells everything about how he feels about this dude. This dude is softcore. That's what he is. So now y'all see Mr. Clean right here. You see Yul Brynner looking at us. You see Telly Savalas looking at us right now. You see Dr. Evil looking at us. Actually, all of those characters are too tough for this guy right here. So here's this guy from Utah who, of course, he gave him his own voice. We don't want it. Yeah, but see, I would give him one of those too, where he's talking at the nostrils. So here he is, y'all. This is a Republican.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I am Governor Spencer Cox, and I have the pleasure today of hosting the first One Utah student town hall. Yeah. And my preferred pronouns are he, him, and his.
What? He deserved all of that. He deserved that Price is Right thing. Dun, 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 dun. Did you hear what that dude just said?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Spencer Cox.
With that feathered down voice.
And I want to start off by saying my pronouns are...
What the crap is that? Off grip, I'm going rhino. So here we go.
Utah's Republican governor sharing with his state's high school representatives his pronouns. Obviously, Cox is one of the ones that Marjorie Taylor Greene would like to leave behind back in December of 2021. She made the very same exhortation. Yeah. Back then, Greene retweeted with comment a tweet by Pedro Gonzalez, an associate editor of Chronicles magazine. Yeah. And what Gonzalez did is he responded to a pathetic leftist who was reluctantly relocating from California to Florida.
What? So wait, let me get this straight, Doc. A while back, you had some dude that's on the left out in California where they were so woke that they didn't realize that they was asleep, and that their governor and their policies turned the whole state into an SO state. And then this liberal decides, I'm going to Florida where things are running better. But on my way, I'm criticizing Florida. Okay, that's what I'm going to do because I'm reluctantly going. So let's see how this guy responds to the liberal that says, well, I'll go, but I don't want to.
So this leftist tweeted out how much he loathed the politics of Florida, but he recognized that the quality of life was infinitely better there than in the ultra-leftist cesspool of California.
See, that's the question. See, the liberals don't answer. Why? What are the factors that make Republican-ran states and cities operate better? What are those factors? See, what are the differences? And so when it comes down to this divorce, what would happen if we got a divorce? What side of the family, if we were the kids, would y'all decide to go with? See, I would think and say, you know what, now, on this side, whomever, mom or dad, don't matter, I ain't gonna be sexist about it. On this side, I noticed some things. The cities are horribly ran. The education system is piss poor. They hate the country. They believe in high taxes. They always push nothing but racism and identity politics. Everything's racist over in their house. Not to mention that they don't have any brave, tough men over there that if a war broke out could help fight. That's a concern for me. They don't even believe in law and order. And they don't even have cops. They got counselors. Not cops. They got counselors over there. See, and they're letting people from other countries come into our country. Now, I don't know if I want to go live with that parent right there. I wonder how long it would take if we did divorce for their side of the country to implode. I'm thinking months, not weeks. When they get over there and start eating their own, get over there and start talking about well, now that we got our own state
state and country, I still hate it because it's a fascist country that was acquired by the oppression of the...
How long do you think it would take before the gay and lesbians start eating the transgenders, and the transgenders get mad at the gay and lesbians, and then you got all of the women that are talking about I'm a feminist, they're fighting. It would implode immediately. How long do you think it would take before they start saying, now, wait a minute, man, I mean, I believe we fighting racism and stuff, but y'all are letting criminals out. And man, this ain't the utopian that y'all promised us. Y'all told us that these counselors would be able to handle these violent criminals, but you're not. And why aren't y'all living down here with us? So let me get this straight. Y'all take my guns. Y'all make sure we don't have freedom of speech. You might even put me in my crib and shove a vaccine in my arm that I don't want. You tell me I can't travel and drive the vehicles that I want to. You're doing all of that. And then you tax me, send the IRS to my crib with guns. With guns. I go to school and find out that my kid is gender 13 now. Had no idea. Did he switch genders on me? Okay. And next week he's scheduled for surgery that I didn't even approve. There you go. And oh, by the way, he does hate me because I'm the white devil now. And y'all did this. How long do you think that side of the country would survive? You know how many people would be scratching and biting to get back over here? We would be over here like, we built the wall. I would be like, walls do work, see? Keep the crazies out. That's what this wall is for, to keep the loonies out. Now y'all see y'all wicked ways. Let me over that wall. We ready to live like we got sense now. All of that would take place. So I can understand what Marjorie Taylor is saying, but because people don't understand what she's saying and they want to demonize her, I'm going to let her speak for herself because she's going to keep it 100% before we get out of here.
And so this fellow, of course, Pedro Gonzalez, tweeted out in response, quote, "This guy is moving from California to Florida because he can't stand living in the mess that lib politics created, and he still has the audacity to talk down to Floridians about their politics. Libs are a cancer. They're the absolute worst people in the country." And he continues.
You know what? And it's sad. I know that sounds bad, man. But yeah, I have to agree with him. I didn't notice it until Trump unleashed it. Man, when he got elected, all of that stuff just came out. And I'm like, these folks crazy. See, this is beyond us going to marriage counseling. Because I'm thinking like, can this be reversed? When people are suspending reality, that's a concern for me. When you are talking about policies that could infringe upon our freedoms and you're that angry, you're that mad, you're constantly walking around looking for the next thing to be a victim over. You're constantly looking for another reason to be upset. You're constantly talking about this ain't right and shouldn't have to do this. We should give away all the money to everybody. You want to give the money to Pakistan. You want to give the money to all of these places. Don't even look out for your own people. See, that stuff right there, as I start witnessing that, I start saying these folks is nuts. And then got the nerve. And this is what makes them, when I look at it, I go, either they're unconsciously evil or they're knowledgeably evil. But nonetheless, they're so angry and bitter. They are so violent towards anybody who disagrees. They are so just aggressive. They don't have a reasonable response. It's one of those things like, you're a fascist and you know what, you deserve it, you white man. They throw out the worst accusations on people. They don't care how it damages their life, their reputation, their jobs, all of that. As I look at that, and I'm talking about the extreme liberals, I'm not talking about folks who just walking around minding their business, don't pay attention to politics. I'm talking about the ones that have been infected by this rhetoric and this garbage that the Democrats, fake news, big tech, big business, and globalists have been feeding these folks. They've created these angry people, and you see them all over the place, all on TikTok. You see them out there. You saw my show last night. That one lady, white liberal, sitting back with that Band-Aid, talking about it. Say this, you see that? This right here is not right. I will refuse to put this on my black students. It's like adding insult to injury. And she goes home thinking that she's doing something good. Do you think she stepped into a black neighbor and said, hey guys, before I get out there make a fool of myself on TikTok, I'm wondering how you guys feel about Band-Aids of color. And that's the sad part about it. They're that mad for nothing. They don't even check in with the people who they claim that they're defending and all of that stuff. That's how arrogant they are. That's how much they look at us and go to sleep at night thinking I'm doing something good by implementing the racism of low expectations. Like black folks are that feeble, that weak, that a darn Band-Aid that doesn't match our skin complexion is gonna break us. It breaks us. These are the people that will be over there. I will be like, go on now. Go on over there, stay mad, stay angry, and all of that. Folks will wake up real quick if we got a divorce. Real quick. Let's continue, man. I'm sorry. This one got up under my skin, man, because they don't like what Marjorie Taylor Greene said, and this guy right here is making some sense.
I support actively discriminating against transplants like this through legislation. They shouldn't be able to vote for a period, and they should have to pay a tax for their sins.
In other words, with this man with the last name Gonzalez, so they can't say that he's a white nationalist because he's Latino. I'm assuming Gonzalez means he's Latino. But Gonzalez was saying, don't you bring your nasty butt from California to Florida to turn Florida into California. That's the problem I have. Don't be sitting back talking about, Kev, I ain't got no place to live, bruh. And then you come in my crib talking about, what's up with all that lint over there? And man, you mean tell me, you ain't got no curtains? You ain't got a house. That's what you don't have. Don't be coming up in my crib talking about, well, look at this and look at that. When your butt was sleeping in the gutter. Who do you think you are, bruh? How about this? How about you go? How about you pay rent while you're here? Huh? Yeah. Before you come in here and start making demands, prove your worthiness. Prove your worth. So all of these folks who flee from their raggedy S-hole states without even stopping for 1 second to question, how did the state come like this? What ideas made it into that? What policies caused it to be this way? It used to be beautiful, flourishing and all of that stuff. And I wonder, did it just fall apart on its own? And if you can't conclude that the people that you voted for were responsible for that, then that means you don't need to be coming down here, because obviously you haven't learned. You don't see what contributed to that mess, and you'll bring that mentality right down here. And that's what Mr. Gonzalez was saying he didn't want.
You get the gist here. So Marjorie Taylor Greene back then tweeted out in response, quote, "That's all possible in a national divorce scenario. After Democrat voters and big donors ruin a state like California, you would think it wise to stop them from doing it to another great state like Florida." And she went on, when she got some comparable pushback from Democrats, like she got from rhinos this time around, she wrote, quote, "You know what's necessary about threatening a divorce?
What?
It's a wake-up call to the one offending the other."
Now that is true. Thank you, Marjorie, for all the haters. See, people know you're dead serious when you say, you know what, we need to talk. Like me. I'm gonna tell y'all something about me, okay? I'm not a complainer at all. I mean, I complain about these stupid people, but if you're my friend, or if I'm in a relationship with you, the chances of you ever hearing me say, we need to talk, you would be like, oh, shoot. Oh, what'd I do? Let me go through my, for Kev to say, we need to talk, it got to be something serious. You understand that? Now, some people, every day you come home, we need to have another talk, and you're going, shoot. About what? This time I want to listen to your needs. I've only worked 12 hours, and now I'm here to go through another counseling session over why I didn't wash the dishes last night before I went to bed. I'm sorry. Now you got to talk to your teeth and act like I'm working it out. But see, when you get dead serious and say, we're not talking about little things. These are things that can make me pack up my stuff and go. Now, if the person you're in a relationship with values you, they're going to say, whoa, well, this is serious. This ain't one of those I track snow through the crib on my shoes. This right here is worth us sitting down at the table and finding out what's the problem if I'm going to try to make this work. Okay, especially if the person that's offended is paying all the bills, making all the groceries, protecting the crib. When you look at conservative states, they're responsible. How many of those liberals, if we broke the country up in half, would start growing crops? They would all be forced to eat bugs. They would be up there talking about this isn't right, the animal right activists, and you know what, we should eat grass. Let them eat grass. How many of those dudes with purple hair, man buns, open-toe sandals are going to be over there herding cattle? So all the crap that these liberals enjoy come from folks that would be moving with us. They'd be, well, I'm going with that parent over there, where folks got some sense, where we can keep the supply chain going. That's what would happen. And they'll be looking over that wall at us while we're eating steak. I like that. I like steak too. Yeah, we know you do. But you won't be getting none of this. So now Marjorie Taylor Greene is saying, look, a divorce lets you know that I'm serious. If we can't work this out, if you ain't willing to come to the table and talk about this, this is going to end. Yeah, I don't bring this up lightly. I'm at my wit's end. If I'm coming to you talking about, I'm thinking about a divorce. That ain't one of, we've been married 2 days and you didn't wake up in the morning and say, I love you, so I want a divorce. No, that's not one of those things. This is one of those, I've been dealing with this crap for 10 years straight. And I done told you now, I got a problem with this. And you keep chuckling and letting the problem get worse. So I'm at my wit's end, man.
That they've had enough. Happy marriages are the result of two committed people working together, resolving differences, and changing behavior that hurts the other. But the state of our union is currently far from happy, and I really don't care how many Democrats I offend by calling it out. For your information, you like our red states because of our politics, and it's our Republican politics that create the very environments you like. So I will not apologize when I muse or discuss ideas that stop Democrat voters and donors who are moving out of the shitholes they created with their Democrat votes and donations from ruining great red states by bringing your disastrous ideas and destructive votes with you.
You knock me off of my feet now, baby. Marjorie girl, hey pretty baby with the high heels on. You give me fever like a girl. Did y'all hear that? Like, I don't give a darn what y'all think, okay? I don't care. That's how I feel about it. I love what she just said. The reason y'all always snooping around our states and our cities, because there's law and order, there's sanity, things run relatively smooth, nobody's jumping on your back talking about, why are you here, you fascist, white nationalist, racist? You come down here for peace of mind, and all of that stuff. But then you go back and talk about how horrible conservatives are. So yeah, you got a point, Marjorie.
For your information, we Republicans don't want your blue votes ruining our red home states. We don't want high taxes, high crime, high amounts of perverse school curriculums, loss of freedoms, and authoritarian big government in our red states. That's what you Dems vote for. If you're so offended by my comments about national divorce, then take a real hard look inward and ask yourself why it's sadly such a popular idea with Republicans. And it is.
Oh my God. There'll be no darkness tonight. Baby, our love will shine. Light in the night. That's how I feel right now about Marjorie Taylor Greene. Did you hear that? That's that tough love right there. That's you're sitting in marriage counseling like, but I didn't know she felt that way. Well, you need to stop and listen to her. Well, yeah, I am. I just didn't know it was going to cut me like that. That's what that was. That was that tough love. Like, for your information, we don't want y'all coming in here stinking up the joint.
Poll after poll shows that secessionist sentiments in our nation are stronger today than they've ever been since the mid-19th century. Perhaps the most shocking poll was conducted by Brightline Watch in conjunction with YouGov, and it asked respondents, would you support or oppose your state seceding from the United States to join a new union, list of states in new union? The answers were shocking, because the survey found that support for secession had increased among every single partisan group, but most particularly among Southern Republicans. Support for secession among Southern Republicans was around 50% back in January of 2021, but that number leapt up to 66% of June of that year in just 6 months. But it's not just Southern Republicans. 47% of Democrats in the Pacific Northwest want to secede.
So give them what they want. Give them what they want. So that Republican or whoever these dudes are talking about, I think that's a little over the top. We don't need to be concerned. No. See, we're at a standoff. That's what people don't realize, man. We're at a standoff. And here's the bigger problem, though. Why it would be tough to continue. It's because of the parents. We got one of the parents, which I'm going to go ahead and just say, the Democrat Party. They are hell-bent on destroying the country. They'll never stop. They're in too deep. These folks are not willing to give up these crazy ideas, these crazy policies, this globalist attitude. They are always going to be telling the kids to hate the other kids, and your daddy ain't no good, and he never home, and he's a white nationalist, he's a racist, he's a xenophobe. That's why. If I'm coming to the crib and I'm doing the best I can to bless our family, make sure we prosper, look out for our safety. And every time I come home, half of the kids hate me because they think I'm a white nationalist xenophobe, and they're getting it from their parent. So yes, we gotta go, man. We got the divorce because you are poisoning the kids. You don't want them to understand that dad's looking out for their best interests. Okay, your crazy ideas have infected them. And these folks aren't willing to give that up, man. As we've seen the last 6 to 8 years, their policies make no sense. So I have to conclude, they're evil. They got a bigger diabolical agenda that has compelled them to do whatever they have to do. Whether it is to divide the country through false accusations, lies, using all of these institutions to go after citizens, removing our rights, going after guns, going after freedom of speech, going after freedom of religion, all of that crap, they're not willing to abandon. So until they're willing to give that garbage up, we can't make it. See, because I always have to be looking over my shoulder at who's supposed to be having my back. But they ain't got the best interest for the family, man. I know I'm talking tonight. Dang on it.
And in the heartland places like Illinois and Ohio and Wisconsin, 43% of independents wanted to secede. So overall, this YouGov survey found that 40% of Americans want to secede as of June of 2021. Wow. And again, these findings were corroborated by previous polls that show that half of all Republicans in the South support secession. And one of the reasons why I think we're seeing this surge in secessionist support in the South particularly is precisely because of what Pedro Gonzalez and Marjorie Taylor Greene are saying. Red states are flourishing and blue states are imploding. They're degenerate. And we don't want their societal and cultural rot to infest our vibrant red states. In many respects, I think it's that simple. We don't trust our national institutions anymore because we see them as having become rotten to the core by virtue of their liberal contagions from blue states. And we want to collectively thrive apart from such woke waste.
Bam!
So I think what Marjorie Taylor Greene is calling for here really is just the beginning. I think when it comes to red states declaring their independence from rotting blue states, we ain't seen nothing yet.
Man, I mean, he does have a good point. And the problem that I'm seeing, granted, don't get me wrong, that's the last scenario that you want to have to deal with. You don't want that. I think we are stronger together, but I tell you, there is a lesson to learn. I know that our policies work. I know that hanging on to the love for the country, I know that we produce some of the more solid patriots that's willing to protect our country, our rights, the things that we all as Americans enjoy, whether you know it or not. See, they would be giving up the best part of America if we divide it. And sometimes you got to see what you had and lose it to realize it. They would be giving up the best of America. That's that moment where they will wake up and realize, wait a minute, why isn't the food showing up in the refrigerator? Wait a minute, why are people tearing up our streets and shooting and looting outside and there's nobody coming? Wait a minute, why is it that our side of the country is easily being invaded and balloons are flying over from China and it ain't happening down there on the other side of the continent that we gave over to the conservatives? Why are they flourishing down there, huh? Why are the kids being educated? Why don't they have S-hole cities like we do? Why are their young men actually acting like young men? Why are they doing that? I don't understand. Why aren't all of those young men down there in their schools talking out their nostrils? See, that's what I'm wondering. Why are all of their girls being able to break records as girls and not be subverted by boys who think they're girls? We don't understand how that's happening. Well, because we remained logical, rational. We kept our common sense. We still believe in our sovereignty. We believe in individual rights. We believe in limited government. That's why y'all bought into that garbage over there. That's why I guarantee you, if we divorce, they would wake up real quick and realize, we ain't got nobody over here that want to work. Everybody's mad. Everybody feels entitled. Everybody feels like they need privilege and all of that. Everybody's a victim. Even those Democrat politicians that would run that side would immediately be like, all right, we need to put the smackdown on these people. We created a whole bunch of whining, crazy, radical, complaining activists, and now we don't like it. They don't work. They don't pay their taxes. They got a problem with every policy that we make. Heck, when we were one country, we were using these folks to destroy the folks with common sense. This would prove that they're crazy, they're radical, and their policies don't work. And that's the last case scenario. But man, before I sit back and watch these folks just infect the whole place, at some point you look and you gotta consider cutting off your leg that is turning green and pus is coming out. Nobody wants to walk with a limp, but I'd rather walk with a limp than kill the whole body, period. Now, God bless y'all. God bless America. I'm just saying. Now, I hope it don't come to that, but boy, they pushing me. Don't think I haven't thought about it. Good grief. Woo! Boy, I did not expect for this to get into the, it just kicked in. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I watched that today and was just like, she got a point. And I almost got mad listening to folks talking about this woman right here is cute. And I'm like, you shut your mouth. Talking about you some dang on Republican or conservative. Obviously, you don't know who we dealing with. These folks got it in for us. So you don't appease them. So thank y'all for listening to the show tonight. God bless you. God bless America. Don't forget to hit that like button, share my videos, find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those good things. And please check out Extreme Teas, my sponsor. If you like their products, please click on the link below this video. Put Kevin in a promo code. You'll get a 20% discount. If you'd like to donate to Kevin's Corner, feel free. The links are below this video. If you want to be a part of my $2 a month club, also feel free to do that. All it entails is you simply dropping $2 a month into one of those links below the video. Or if you want, you can drop a nice big fat lump sum in there to offset the stuff that we know goes on with big tech. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. Make sure that you are still subscribed. And finally, set your notification button to all, because YouTube is playing games, y'all. Now, God bless you. God bless America. See y'all next time in Kevin's Corner.